We are live.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another Facebook Live this beautiful Thursday morning. Today, we are out here at the Casper Creek Natural Cemetery, which is right adjacent to Casper Bluff Land and Water Reserve. So many of you are probably familiar with Casper Bluff. We're right next to that. So today we are here to hear from Operations Manager Andra Only Larson a little bit about what exactly is Casper Creek Natural Cemetery and some of the services that they provide. So if you have questions, we can always answer your questions as we go as well. The location of the Casper Creek Natural Cemetery was chosen based on a 6-year process where we really learned that this particular land use is right in line with our conservation ethics as an organization. So, Andra, my first question for you is, what exactly is a natural burial?
That's a really great question, Jess. So when you think about it, most people who have ever lived for all of time experience a natural burial. There are 3 things that here today in the United States define a natural burial. And that is that no embalming can take place. There is no vault container around the buried person. And that any container or shroud that is used during the burial has to be biodegradable. There's also a more nuanced definition that I'm pretty fond of. That is, it is a natural burial. It takes place when you care for the dead while being mindful of not using natural resources.
And so what is a conservation cemetery? What does that mean?
A conservation cemetery, like the Casper Creek Natural Cemetery, accommodates for natural burial and then takes it an extra step forward by actively working to conserve the land. We do that through our partnership and in coordination with the Joe Davis Conservation Foundation. JDCF helped initiate CCNC as a way to use some of our revenues to further their land stewardship, education, and outreach, like this.
And so why would somebody choose a natural cemetery over a conventional lawn cemetery?
More and more, all of us are looking at the choices we make and trying to make choices that are more eco-friendly, more affordable, and personally meaningful. We can take that all the way to completing our life. In a lot of ways, natural burial really mirrors the way that a lot of us try to live our lives, being environmentally responsible, in tune with nature, and really personalized.
And so these natural burials, are they safe?
They are absolutely safe. They're safe for the decedent, they're safe for families, and they're safe for the earth. Here in Illinois, state law dictates that there's about 24 hours after someone passes away in order to get them to storage or burial. That's enough time to keep everyone, including the family, safe. On an ecological side, the soil is the best filter that we have. Everything is held inside of it, and there's no real risk of organic matter traveling. We're also a set distance away from any water sources, and our burials take place about 3.5 feet down, which is well above the water table.
So if families still wanted to use a casket or an urn, is that still an option?
It is. The only thing that is dictated by a natural burial and the container that someone is buried in is a look at it being entirely biodegradable. This really empowers a lot of families and clients to choose something that's really special to them. It can be a unfinished wood casket. It can be a favorite cotton quilt. It can be a hand-turned urn. It's really up to you, and there are lots and lots of options available from many different third-party vendors.
And how about the sites themselves? Is there a marking that will mark the sites?
There is. So in both of our main cemeteries, where we can accommodate for full body burials and ash interment, Each of the spaces has the option for an identical grave marker. These are made of natural limestone and they're set into the ground, so it doesn't take away from the views, and they're still a very serene and tranquil feeling. The exact specifications for what those memorial stones can look like can be found in our rules and regulations on our website at any time.
Awesome. So can you tell us, what is the cost of being buried at the Casper Creek Natural Cemetery?
That's a good question. We allow for full body burial, ash interment, and the spreading of cremated remains in our ash scattering area. Each of those options has a different price, and it's also affected by some state laws depending on each person's individual situation. A full price list is available on our website, caspernaturalcemetery.com. And you can also contact me to find out a little bit more about what that would be tailored to you.
Okay. And if families have more questions for you, how can they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. I'm available at all times by phone at 815-677-3411. And our website, again, is caspernaturalcemetery.com.
caspernaturalcemetery.com. Awesome. Great. If anybody in the audience has questions for Andra about Casper Creek Natural Cemetery, now is a great time to ask. If you have questions later on too, and after you've watched this a few times, you can always type them into the comments section and we can come around later on and answer those questions later as well. So thank you everybody for joining us. We would like to thank our sponsors, the First Community Bank of Galena, Apple River State Bank. They've been great sponsors. And we will see everybody next week. Take care.